What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Ty. Thanks for tuning in. Coming at you with another dupe video. You guys know I love to ball on a budget, okay? So I am going to be seeing if we have a dupe for the Urban Decay Velvetizer. If you're not familiar with Velvetizer, it is a mix-in medium that is meant to mattify and thicken any foundation or product that you're using. It also is supposed to control oils. So I actually stumbled across another powder. This is the Innisfree No Sebum Mineral Powder. And this does not claim to be a mix-in medium. This just claims to be a very oil controlling powder. It's a Korean product. It has Jeju natural mineral and natural originated mint. So I definitely wanted to review and see if these two products were similar to each other, because this one is 5 grams and it retails for anywhere from $5 to $10. You can find it on eBay, Amazon, the Hush app. Just be careful of some fakes out there, counterfeit products. And the Velvetizer is 8 grams, but it also retails for $34. So are these two the same? Are they different? Which one did I like better? If you're curious to see if this is a dupe for this product here, then just keep on watching.
The reason I wanted to compare these two is because when I picked up the Innisfree powder, I noticed that it's performing very similar to my Velvetizer, and I decided to put them to the test, especially because there's such a vast price difference. So this is the Velvetizer. The packaging is beautiful. It legit feels like purple velvet on the outside. It's very sleek. I do adore this powder. I think it's a great one. However, if I can find a cheaper alternative, then yeah. So as you can see, there's a sifter with a lot of product there at the top. It is a little bit messy because it is a very, very, very finely milled product. So it's almost like powdered air, if that makes sense. Like, it's the craziest texture. There's nothing else on the market that is as finely milled as this. It's very soft and fluffy almost. And as you can see, it is nice and transparent. So it does not show up. There's no white cast or anything to it. Now the Innisfree powder, again, this is a Korean product. You could get a smaller amount of product. However, this is a fan favorite. It does have a white powdered texture to it. It is meant to be white. So basically in Korean culture, it is good to have lighter skin, fairer skin. And so that's why it has that. Now my camera's not showing it, but there is a little puff that it comes with. I don't use that puff. And it also has a sifter, but the product does not pull up to the top because of how it is structured. You could see it's kind of like a powdered sugar. Okay, so it's one of those where you have to flip it over and knock out the product. It's not going to pull up into the cap there. You're not going to have a whole bunch of product flying away everywhere. It's just like powdered sugar, and where you place it is where it goes. So it's a little bit easier to control. Again, very finely milled, but you see that white cast on my finger. So like I said, it is meant to brighten and lighten the skin. However, it is still also easily blendable. Now you guys know, if you watch my cushion foundation routine, I like to use my Velvetizer with cushion foundation. Unfortunately, I only have one, so I could not show you how they both would work because I only have one cushion foundation. So I figured this Rimmel one would be the best one to use because this is a new product on the market and it comes in 16 shades. But y'all, this is basically liquid watered down foundation. It says medium coverage. It's meant to be a breathable foundation. However, y'all, this is basically, it's so watered down. It's crazy. It's so sheer. I wouldn't even call this a tinted moisturizer or even like a BB cream. Look at it. You can see how see-through it is on my skin. Now this wand applicator is absolutely amazing. It's like a little hockey puck and it's very flexible. I love how it blends the foundation. This formula is just not the best for me because if I'm gonna wear foundation, I want it to be full coverage. If I don't want full coverage, then I'll just do a cushion foundation or a spot concealing powder. So I want you to see how this foundation just performs without any of the powder. So I have a lot of acne scars, as you guys know, and so when I put it on there, you can see how see-through this product is. Okay, so this is definitely perfect for my girls that don't have a lot of discoloration or anything they need to cover up. Maybe you don't like foundation or you're new to foundation and you just want a wash of color, maybe just to even some things out. But I am taking a brush here because you know brushes typically give more coverage, and you can layer this foundation on a billion times and it will never cake up, but it's not going to build up. So I don't think this is a buildable foundation. It is a layerable foundation, if that makes sense. You will never get this foundation past maybe a high light coverage. I think medium coverage is stretching it, but it is what it is. I think there's going to be a lot of people that do like this foundation. You can find this at any local drugstore. It's only about $5 or $6. It's just not my favorite. So I figured this would be a good one to use to see, okay, can we thicken up this foundation? Can we get it a little bit more matte? Can we get it a little bit more high coverage? But, you know, just alone, you can see my acne scars just are still peeking through. And I've put on about 3 layers at this point, and it's just, it is what it is. Not a bad product. It's just not the best for me and my particular skin type. But again, I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of ladies that love it. So this is what I primed my skin with. And I'm going to go in, and this is a little bit messy, but I'm going to take the Velvetizer first. And I'm just going to scoop a little bit into this palette here and mix in the product. You have to be sure to mix it in very, very well. And as you can see, it's already going to start to thicken up the product. It's going to make it less liquidy and more like a paste of some sort. And it's going to feel a little bit grainy, but that's why you have to mix it very well. Again, I think this is a little bit tedious just for everyday purposes. I would probably just use this mixed into my cushion foundation to make it a little bit easier. But I'm going to go ahead and swipe that all on my face. And this is the side of my face that has a lot more to cover. That's why I'm using the high-end one on this side so you guys can really see what it does. And I'm going to use a Morphe sponge. I'm just going to use a different side for the other product. But as you can see, it's so much more matte. And just on this first layer, I feel like there's so much more coverage. This probably is more coverage than those 3 layers without the powder itself. So this definitely works to thicken it up. But I will say, if you go in and layer this, if you add more layers to cover up acne scars like I'm doing, it does start to bunch up and catch and kind of cling. And especially if you have dry patches, I would not recommend this product for dry skin, because it is going to cling on your dry patches. So with me having combination skin, it definitely did that. It started to look a little bit cakey and weird because of it clinging on those patches. So it's definitely one of those things I would suggest only using 1 layer, or just use it as a setting powder. But again, I wanted to show you for this video how it operates as a mix and medium as well. Now we're going to do the same thing with the Innisfree. A little bit easier to work with because it doesn't thicken it as much and it doesn't mattify it as much, so it doesn't feel as drying. I think this product did a good job of just making this very see-through foundation perform more like a regular foundation, if that makes sense. So it was easier to layer. It kind of glided on a lot better. It did not cling to any dry patches, and it also did thicken and mattify the product. So I think it worked. It just worked a little bit more smoother and easier versus the Velvetizer side. I was able to build this up with no problem, and I think it worked. Again, it doesn't claim to do this portion. It just claims to control oil or help you, reduce sebum production. It does not claim to be a mix and medium, but I think that it worked really well for this purpose. So let me show you the rest of my face so that you can see how everything else blended. I'm going to add my concealer here. I'm using the Instant Age Rewind Concealer in Caramel. I have a video of all the darker shades, so feel free to check that out. And applying my concealer was not a problem, but blending it out along with my contour, this is the Wet n Wild Where's Walnut contour. I did notice some difficulty with blending, really a lot of difficulty, especially on the Velvetizer side. Like, it kept dragging and catching, if that makes sense. Like, it just was not a smooth glide. It was just, my face was so matte that it just had a hard time really blending out. And I did notice it on both sides, but definitely the Velvetizer side was a lot harder than the Innisfree side. I also noticed that my concealer dried down a lot quicker than normal. Now, this concealer does dry down very quickly, which is why I like it. but it dried down even quicker than normal. So I would be very careful with, you know, applying your concealer, especially if you're using something like the new Makeup Revolution concealer that dries down extremely fast, or the Beauty Bakery concealer. Woo, I can only imagine how much more harder it would be if you were to be using this Velvetizer or the Innisfree powder. So just be mindful of that. You know, it still looked good at the end, but I did notice just some challenges with applying the rest of my products. And of course, you know, I want to show you guys how this works as a normal setting powder as well, not just a mix-in powder, because this is probably the, you know, easiest way to use it. And I'm using two similar brushes, one from Morphe, one from e.l.f. And I'm going to first go in with my Velvetizer powder, and it does fly away a lot. There's a lot of kickback and dust. And look at the smoothing properties. This is my favorite way to use it, because look how pretty. It really does take away all of your pores. It looks amazing. Like, it looks nice. It definitely gives a soft baby doll effect to your skin. It glides on very easily because of how finely milled it is. It's just all around a beautiful setting powder, and I think it looks really, really good. Now with the Innisfree side, I'm going to be using the Morphe brush, and same thing, it's less of a kickback when you are dipping your brush into the top there, and it just sticks exactly where you put it. Okay, so this one as well, you can't really see it as well on the camera, but I feel like this one also smooths out the skin so nice. But you guys can see it's a little less transparent than the Urban Decay side. So as long as you blend it in, you cannot see any of that white powder, but just know that it is going to initially present less transparent than the Urban Decay side. But again, it blurs out your pores. It gives a nice baby doll soft effect. You just have to be sure that you really work it in there and use a nice fluffy brush for the application process. So this is both sides completely done. And of course, I am a little bit concerned about flashback because they are both white powders. So I'm going to also do the rest of my face by adding another powder on top of my face. And this is going to be the Becca Warm Honey powder. And I just went ahead and put that all over. And then I'm going to take my Sephora Micro Smooth in Deep Ebony just to bronze up my face a little bit more. And then the Becca Ipanema Sun bronzer as well, just to kind of, you know, bring a little bit of color to my face. I love that Ipanema Sun. It is absolutely beautiful. And now I'm going to pop in highlight, and definitely there was a lot of skipping and catching on the Velvetizer side. Like, it did not look good at all. The Innisfree side went on just fine. I'm using the new Milani highlighter. I love this highlighter, but you can see that it looks patchy on the Velvetizer side. And it just really surprised me. I mean, that side just gave me a lot of trouble, guys. Now, this is the flash test. Can I just say how surprised I am that the Velvetizer side looks horrible? I mean, look at all that flashback on that side of my face. That is the Velvetizer side, and I am so surprised because I really thought the Innisfree would give me flashback because it is a white powder. It's not as finely milled. It's that's what it's supposed to do. That's what Korean culture likes. They like that white, light-skinned face. And no, there's not as much flashback. It's a tiny bit, but I don't think too difficult or too, you know, problematic. But that Velvetizer side is a hot darn mess. Okay. No clue what happened to my footage here. I am so sorry, guys, but basically I was running out of the house. I was trying to end this video, hence why I have food in my teeth again. So sorry for this ratchet ending, but this is my face after about 6.5 hours of wear, and I think the Innisfree side and the Velvetizer side both still look good, but I will say that the Velvetizer side did get oilier quicker throughout the day. So hands down, this $5 powder is absolutely amazing. I think it's better than the Velvetizer, and don't get me wrong, guys, the Urban Decay Velvetizer is a great product. It's something I have enjoyed using, but without a doubt, this is definitely a cheaper alternative for those of you that do not want to spend your hard-earned coin. This is a great one to research and see if it works for you. So thank you so much for watching this video, guys, and if you have any questions, let me know, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.